What's up, everybody? Jamie Shaw here with the Absolute Basketball Experience. In today's episode, we caught up with new Kentucky commitment Davion Mintz. We talked about his time as a quarterback in football field. We talked about what it was like the first time he heard from John Calipari in the recruitment process. And we talked about where the best basketball is played in North Carolina. But before we jump into it, be sure you subscribe to the channel and click on the bell so you get the notifications. If you enjoy the interview, also, please be sure to share it on your platforms and social media as well. And be sure to comment below what you think it takes to be a blue blood type point guard. Without further ado, here is new Kentucky commitment Davion Mintz on the Absolute Basketball Experience. What's up, everybody? Jamie Shaw back here again with you. We're coming at you with new Kentucky commitment Davion Mintz. Davion, first off, congratulations. And secondly, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was great. Before we get started here, I noticed in your bio that you were a quarterback on the JV football team. What type of quarterback were you, and how good were you?
I was all right, I say, but no, I really enjoyed growing up. My dad was a football player, so it just kind of got to the point where I felt like I was too skinny to play. So I got hit real hard, and that was the end of it for me. But I mean, I enjoyed it. Pretty good passer, sprinter, so it was fun.
Obviously, and the vision has transitioned over to the basketball court and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
I guess jumping right into it, 2017-18, you were all Big East, all academic. In high school, honor roll, Boys State, recruited by Yale, even, all that stuff. Academics obviously plays a huge role for you, both in life. Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. My mother was real influential in that aspect. She was my first grade teacher. So, I mean, ever since I was a child, it was super important to her. And she just kind of fostered that through our entire life, including my other siblings. So, I mean, I knew it was unacceptable to bring some home lower than a B. And then as college got a little bit more challenging, a C started to become acceptable, but she still kind of had a problem. But, I mean, so that's where it all roots from.
No doubt. And even going further in high school, your junior and senior year, you were 50-7. You were a 1,000-point scorer, all state as a senior. What was it like playing for Dwayne Lewis? And then what was it like playing in such a tough basketball type conference that you played in down in Charlotte?
Oh, I mean, it was the best times of my life. Playing for Dwayne, I mean, the type of I started with him young. I played varsity as a freshman, so trying to just build my way up gradually was just super. He developed me so much, and it was fun to kind of see the accolades start rolling in because I not only saw myself getting better from a reward standpoint, I saw the development in my game. So it was just he really helped me out a lot. And the competitiveness was crazy. I mean, Friday nights in the Den, aka West Charlotte, those it was just fun, man. So I really look back on it. I cherish those moments.
Oh, no doubt. And North Mech has such a unique atmosphere. I mean, it might not even seat 1,000 people. If you don't get there before the girls' game, you ain't getting in.
I know.
It's a cool experience.
Sure, for sure.
I guess going in, you were kind of lightly recruited, especially through your junior year. Obviously, you had Robert Morris, Delaware, that came in early. But then all of a sudden in June, between your junior and senior year, you blew up. 18 offers. You ended up with stuff from like Kansas State and Creighton, all that kind of stuff. Did that overlooked nature kind of put a chip on your shoulder? And then what was your mindset with that moving forward?
Yeah, it developed a huge chip on my shoulder. The mid majors, I highly appreciate those guys for their diligent work and recruit me. But I always had aspirations to play at the highest level. So for me, when I would see my counterparts or guys that I'm playing against in the Phenom Hoops tournaments, I'm seeing them get the big offers. I mean, I immediately like, okay, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they see something I don't. I got to go back to work. But so that's what kind of transpired to those 40-point nights. Like I was just playing out of anger. So for me, when I saw Creighton and I saw that they were in a high-level competitive conference, I kind of jumped on it, and that's how it all transpired.
Absolutely. And then fast forwarding to Creighton, you get your first career start as a freshman, January 28th against DePaul. What was that kind of like for you when Coach first told you, hey, man, we're going to go with you tonight?
Yeah, it was very exciting. I mean, as a young guy, like I went to college at 17, just now turning 18. So for me, um, I had we had just had like a team meeting because our starting point guard had got hurt. He was a senior, so he pulled me in off the bench my first game. I think I had 17 and a few assists. So it was very cool. But I got to see that life is completely different.
Yeah.
So once I came in and started, we kind of had to mold my game differently to the needs of the team. So I would first say it was very challenging. It was an eye opener, but it was very exciting, to just see a huge adjustment in your life for the better. So it was fun.
And after you got that note that you're going to start, who was the first person you called and told?
Oh, my older brother, because he he's my roommate. Well, now he was my roommate my senior year, but he went to school with me at Creighton.
Okay.
So I'm on him like, bro, like I'm about to start. This is crazy. And I mean, he's my biggest critique, and he's my biggest hype man. So he was ecstatic for it.
I bet that was an unbelievable conversation.
Oh
And
yeah,
I guess once you started that game, you never looked back. You had 79 career starts, 46 wins, 64% win percentage in the game you started. Um, you know, in conference play, 10.6 points, 3.5 assists and stuff. Some of your biggest games were against the best opponents. The lights were the brightest. 12-4 against Ohio State. You went for 21 on 5 of 8 against Marquette. Butler, Seton Hall, all that kind of stuff. What is it about the bright lights that turns you up?
yeah. I just love big moments. For me, I think that, and that's something that could be looked at really well, and that's something like I just always have to play with the same consistency. But for me, I just love huge moments, and that's when it's time to really shine and show what you're about. So I tell my older brother, we talk a lot, and I tell him like, for some reason in small venues, like my heart pounds more, like I get a little nervous. But when it's just a lot of eyes, is when I feel most comfortable. So that probably plays a part.
Absolutely. And then playing for Coach McDermott, he's kind of established himself as an innovative basketball mind. He lets his players play fast, play free. Um, what was it like kind of playing for him, and what was it like the freedom that he kind of gave you within the system to run everything?
Yeah, Coach McDermott was a very fun coach to play for. He's a mastermind when you come to the board, like when you're drawing plays, set plays, like just quick hitters. I mean, like he's very intelligent with that. Um, his offensive freedom, especially on the perimeter, is very fun. But the system is what kind of molds you in. So for me, playing at the point guard position for him, it was it was a lot different for me. It was more of a role where I was, feeding the table, setting guys up, and then, moving to the perimeter. I mean, it's just very fun. You can learn a lot in that system. So it definitely challenged me.
Absolutely. And kind of expanding on that a little bit, your sophomore year, you led the Big East in assist to turnover ratio, top 15 nationally. What is it like being a point guard? What is your role as the point guard within that free flowing system? And obviously you take care of the ball, but what is your role in all that?
Oh, just knowing your guy, knowing everything about your guys, I think is, a very important spot. You have to be the coach's voice on the court. I learned that knowing situations, knowing what guys like, knowing, your personnel. And for me, I think that playing with a lot of talented guys through my Creighton tenure was what helped me the most. I mean, playing with different groups of guys as well, guys that are in the NBA, high level overseas players. So it was definitely a great experience.
Absolutely. And moving forward on that sophomore year, you had a pretty cool experience playing an NCAA tournament in Charlotte. Obviously, it didn't come out the way that you wanted to, but what was that experience like coming back to Charlotte playing an NCAA tournament?
I mean, it was a dream come true. That was my first time ever playing in the Spectrum
Mm-hmm.
for the Hornets. So I mean, unfortunately we lost, but um, that it was just a great time. When you just look back at things, you just kind of wish that it was a different result. I always, fight myself with that, even though it was still fun. But I mean, the family got to come out. It was my first time being like that close to home since high school, so it was super amazing.
How many friends and family and stuff did you have packed out in those stands?
Countless. I mean, it was like still to this day, like I'll talk to guys. I'm like, I was at that game. I'm like, man, that's crazy.
That's got to
Yes,
be
sir.
a great feeling, man. That's got to be a great feeling. Playing in the Big East, obviously, it's known for its guard play, some great guards and everything in that league. Who were some of the best players that you had to go up against, and what made them so tough?
Yeah, well, like starting team wise, like Villanova was always. I know they carry uh, the stigma of great team, but I mean, like they really are. Like they're
Mhm.
really poised. So I think I learned the most from playing against those guys when they were down, losing. I mean, they stayed glued in together. So from a leading aspect, I learned a lot. But as in players, I mean, Marcus Howard, very gutty player, takes countless shots. I mean, very confident in his shooting and his coaches belief in him. So I mean, he played with that huge amount of freedom. And then Miles Powell, very like once he gets going, you got to stay there. But just guarding those guys night in night out was very fun. Great matchups.
Absolutely. And last year you went through the NBA draft process and stuff, and some of the feedback you got was how they like you on defense and all that kind of stuff. How would that process go for you? And then what was the feedback that they gave you?
Yeah, going through the process was amazing. I got to every day work out with NBA level guys, NBA players. So I mean, that was a huge advantage for me at that time. The feedback was really good. And some of it was, critique where it need improvement, which I expected. That's why you go through a process like that. For me, they really liked my defense, but wanted to see more.
Mhm.
Really liked my shooting ability, but wanted to see more. So everything was just a building block for me. So I think that that's a process that you should definitely take advantage of, and that's exactly why I did it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think everybody eligible should take that process and everything and get the feedback. Moving into this year, you missed this season with the ankle injury, decided to sit the entire year out. What all went into that decision for you?
Yeah, I mean, we were about to start the season. We were just a few weeks away. Um, I had a little accident before fall break. So it was the last practice before we went home, and I had a teammate of mine, fall on my ankle, so it turned a little awkwardly. We were scared at first, but Creighton, took me to the doctors, got scans. Everything just turned out to be a high ankle sprain. So I mean, that was a positive from the beginning. And just with rehab and the way I was progressing, it was very similar to a roller coaster. I mean, some days it'd be really good, then it would swell up. So um, I just kind of had conversations every day with Coach McDermott, and I decided, and he supported it, that it would be best for me to go ahead and redshirt. I was healthy around the December time frame, but just for me knowing that I would come in late my senior season, it was hard for me to accept. And fortunately, thank God I did it, because my season would have been cut even shorter to the virus. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, everything happens for a reason, for sure. So you decided to enter the transfer portal, grad transfer, all that kind of stuff. You acted pretty quickly, but it was pretty quietly for you as well. Obviously, Kentucky called and stuff. Who were some of the other schools that were kind of involved with you, and how was that kind of couple weeks for you?
yeah, it was a decision where I left with good grace. I mean, both parties were understanding. So for me, I think that just exploring my options was my best decision. And it was a very interesting recruiting process during this time. I mean, a lot of schools reached out, but for the privacy of me and those schools, I decided to keep it like in home and impact. But I
Mhm.
mean, from conferences of the ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac 12, like Mountain West, they range from a lot of areas with a lot of great schools called. So it was very challenging and very hard decision to make, but I just went with the one that I felt would put me in the best position.
Absolutely, and obviously that position being NBA, and the track record of Kentucky putting players in the league and guards and all that kind of stuff, and kind of neat with Joel Justice having come in from Charlotte before he went to Kentucky and everything. I'm sure he took the lead and stuff. I talked to him a few times. Um, how did that play a role? I guess the track record and the NBA stuff in choosing Kentucky.
It was a huge effect. I think that Coach Cal puts his players in the best position to challenge themselves every day, uh, have charisma, and then just fight for everything they want. I think that my relationship that built with him, just the support he has of our aspirations as players. He takes accountability for those and says, okay, if you work, then those are your dreams are my dreams. So just his disappointment that he has for not, helping players accomplish their goals, it just really excited me. And it just makes me want to play for a guy like that and give it my all. So that it definitely had a huge effect.
Absolutely. And you're used to big time basketball and stuff, Big East and all that, but Calipari's kind of like a rock star. What was
Yeah.
it like kind of getting that first phone call, that first FaceTime call or whatever the case, and you're sitting there looking at it, it's like, damn, I'm really talking to John Calipari right now.
Was first I'll say it's crazy. I mean, to hear, I'll just say like a legend, like he'll
Yeah.
be a Hall of Fame coach, 100%. So just to hear him call you and say, "Hey, I watched your film. I know who you are. I like your game." It was like a dream come true. I mean, I feel like next to the NBA, and every kid's mind is to play blue blood basketball. So I mean, just to see a guy so humble, just so down to earth, very genuine, it was just like it was very shocking. Not to say that I thought any different of him, but just
Yeah.
to say it was very, very out of body experience almost.
No, oh, no question. And then going forward with that a little bit, how do you see yourself coming in and playing? Like, what type of role do they want you in, and what are you going to bring to the table?
Just a leader. They wanted a guy with experience that's been through situations. I refer to myself as a bottom boy. Like I didn't have anything given to me.
Hmm.
I had to work for it. So I think that they need a guy or want a guy that's playing with and without the ball in his hands, just able to lead. He brings in a heap of freshmen. So just someone that can show the ropes. And for me, I think that. I'm, expecting to use my experience to make an impact immediately, help lead, and just, put myself and this team in the best position to be successful.
And for those who might not have ever seen you play before, um, how would you describe your game? What are your biggest strengths, and what do you do?
Yeah, I think I'll start with, playmaking ability. I think I'm a very athletic guy that can either push it in transition or get out in transition and run. Playing with talented guys really helps me thrive, really helps me expand my game. And, I feel like I can space the floor really well, hit open shots, attack well, and finish at the rim, above the rim. But just defensively, I think that part of my game started to stick out well, which I kind of adopted in college. Just a very tough-minded guard, and can play, move, cut, just space the floor and play with other guys really well.
And so I guess since you graduated high school and moved on, you got Fayetteville guys talking about how Fayetteville's the best in the state. You got Raleigh, you got Charlotte. Everybody's talking about who the best players come from in the hoop state. In your opinion, where's the best basketball in North Carolina?
Come on, it's Charlotte, North Carolina. This is what it is. Like everyone knows that, but I'll just reiterate it.
Yeah, no doubt. So I guess wrapping up here, you got anything else you want to say to Big Blue Nation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be there. I just want everyone to know that you're getting a hungry, humble, and just very thrilled player that's gonna come in and make the most out of this 8 months, 8 months to a year. And I'm just very excited. And I'm happy that you guys welcome me into the family. And I'm praying to God that this virus ends soon so we can all meet each other.
Absolutely. Davion, I appreciate it. It's been fun to watch you coming from your sophomore year all the way up to current day, and I can't wait to see what you continue to do.
And I always appreciate you, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, for Davion Mintz, I'm Jamie Shaw. Thank you very much. We'd like to thank future Kentucky point guard Davion Mintz for joining us today on the Absolute Basketball Experience with Jamie Shaw. It was a great conversational piece. We were able to peel back the layers, learn more about him, learn more about where he came from, where he's going, what it was like during the process, and so much more. Please leave in the comments below your thoughts on Davion as a player, on the Kentucky program, and on basketball as a whole. Also, be sure that you subscribe, click the subscribe button, and click on the bell so that you get notifications each time that a new video pops up. We're going to go through, it's going to be just basketball-oriented stuff coming through with interviews with coaches, interviews with players, mixtapes, and everything in between. A whole bunch of excitement. Please make sure in the comments below that you also tell us whom you'd like to hear from, what players, what coaches you'd like for us to interview moving forward. That would be great. But in the meantime, thank you guys very much for tuning in. I'm Jamie Shaw with the Absolute Basketball Experience. We'll see you later.